Greetings, everyone. This is your average Jen and Cashmere. Today's episode is going to be an update from Annie Kay. She is from Lost Sheep Ministries. And if you don't know anything about Lost Sheep Ministries, go back to the David Johnson episode about Lost Sheep Ministries. David Johnson is the founder of Lost Sheep Ministries International, and that is up in Minnesota. So the last time I talked to Annie, she was actually packing a bag and heading out the door, wanting to go into detox. And so I decided that I would follow up with her because I wanted to see how things were going. And then this is that. So let me bring this up. And I won't ruin what happened, so you're just going to have to listen. Okay, so we got that going. I'm all discombobulated because the cat and everything. Okay. Play, are we going to be at the beginning?
Yep.
No, okay.
So yeah.
Back to the beginning. There we go. All right.
Hi there, and welcome to I'm Only Human, a podcast that attempts to explain how to coexist with other humans. This podcast is going to dive into topics like: is it possible to overcome human nature? Are rules and laws necessary for taming bad behaviors, or are they simply a control mechanism crafted by other disturbed minds? Why do we fight with each other? How does traditional religion impact us? Can social disease be healed through individual recovery? My name is Jen, and I'm an average human. Before I begin, I would like to state that I will be talking about controversial things such as, but not limited to, religion, God, the Bible, 12-step programs, and politics. I am not an expert, and I don't claim to be one. I will, however, be referencing Alcoholics Anonymous because it is the granddaddy of all other 12-step programs. I will also be quoting things from the Bible and mentioning God along with different religions. I'm not trying to promote a particular program, nor am I trying to convert anyone. I believe religion gives us a foundation, and 12-step recovery guides people down a path to self-actualization. Through recovery, healing is possible. I believe that changed minds and attitudes can change our world.
I'm Annie Kanakis. I am friends with Dave Johnson, the founder of the Lost Sheep Ministries 501c3. And I'm a Teen Challenge alumni and just a very silly goose.
It's okay to be silly.
Yep. So yeah. The last time and the first time that I talked to you was when I was getting ready to go to detox, and I was going to go into like a short-term program. But like I just mentioned to you before we started, is that I only made it about one day at this treatment center I went into and then went home.
So why only one day?
Well, really, it was like I went to one class in the morning, so I got there pretty late at night, spent the night, and then in the morning, I did one class that was about self-care. And I thought, oh boy, just the same old stuff because, yeah, I went to treatment 10 years ago now. But yeah, it was actually very eye opening. It was like a checklist of, add this up at the bottom what your score is. And it was like self care. Okay, like I take my makeup off and wash my face and brush my teeth before I go to bed. Okay, no. And it's like I keep up on my vehicle maintenance to make sure I have a safe vehicle to drive me and my kids around. I practice safe sex with safe people. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Oh, it's
So
generic.
It was, but I thought, yeah, it's so true that I don't have very good self care these days when, I can't even hardly get myself to open my mail and that's why my two kids who are little and are take a lot of energy and attention and all that. It's like, that's why my two kids are currently staying with my mom and my stepdad because I'm not providing the best of care. I mean, I do. I'm the best mom. I'm a good mom, but I just overall, yeah, in the morning when my mom would come over to pick him up and walk him to daycare, and she'd be like, do you have raincoats for them? And it was just always laundry and dishes, and it's very stressful. And to just do it alone and have the boys Monday through Friday, it's intense, you know?
Right, it's a never-ending cycle. I feel bad for any single parent out there. There's
Yeah.
a lot to deal with. You have to work a 40-hour week to pay the bills, and then you're exhausted and you gotta come home and you're taking care of your kids and they don't understand. And they wanna
No.
do what they wanna do, and some of times they're not old enough to help, and sometimes they are and they don't want to help with household stuff.
Yep, for sure. So my two sons, who are now 5 and almost 3, I was just not comfortable being so far away from them. I was in Rochester, and I just was like, I gotta go. So I packed as many clothes as I could fit in my backpack and just started walking. Got a ride all the way home from someone I know who lives in Rochester. But yeah, that's kind of where that left off.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you're feeling kind of depressed now, and that's what's drawing you further into this wanting to give up?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I just I'm frustrated that I don't know what to do because, yeah, I'm all the way broke. And I have this house that I have to figure out what to do with. And yeah, I just thought things would get a little better after our divorce for some reason. 'Cause we just got divorced in July. But yeah, I don't get child support at the moment or any kind of support really. But that's the goal, is to get a little bit of support over here.
Are you still in connection with Dave and the ministry and the people in the ministry?
Yeah, just this morning, her name's Marjorie. She's the one that runs these retreats called Setting the Captives Free that me and Dave and Marjorie and some friends had started. But basically, yeah, she leads the classes at these retreats that we have that are like a week long. But she asked me if I was planning on coming to the January one. And I talk to Dave probably every other few days.
Okay. So I know that he had shared a link with me from this Jamie Winship guy. I don't know if you have heard that or not, but for me, it was like a life-changing thing to hear what this guy had to say about finding true identity and how to connect with Christ.
Yeah, I think he showed that to me. Is he have his own podcast?
I think it's more or less a website. It's called Identity Exchange, and in the Identity Exchange website is a whole bunch of podcasts and interviews that he was a part of.
Was he a police officer?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Dave and I drove down to HCMC one morning to pick up a girl from the methadone clinic. At 5:30 in the morning we left, and on our way down there we listened to that guy, and yeah, he talked all about how he thought his purpose was to be a police officer, and how he would open up a blank notebook or piece of paper and write a question down for God and then wait to see what he thought God was saying to him. I thought that's pretty a simple and effective way to hear God talking to you. I mean, God doesn't really talk to you like he did, in the Bible days where he shows up as a burning bush. I mean, if I knew what God was saying to me, I'd be like, okay, God, for sure, I'll do it. I think that when I look back on my life, the times that I've been the happiest, quote unquote, is like truly when I am helping other people, or, yeah, doing something that's not focused on me. Like, I was just watching Patch Adams, which is like one of my all time favorite movies. And in the very beginning, it starts off with Robin Williams being in the psych ward because he's suicidal. And then the doctor, this therapist, like, just doesn't even listen to him when he talks. And at the end of him being there, he says, like, I want to leave, and the doctor's like, I just don't think you're ready. Well, his roommate, Rudy, saw imaginary squirrels, his roommate. And then he helps him one night by, like, pretending to shoot all of them and this and that. But have you ever seen it?
Might have seen it once, but I don't really remember the movie.
Sorry, yeah, I'll
No,
give you a
that's
little.
okay. If it inspires you, go ahead and talk about it.
Oh, well, my power just died. Well, the quick play-by-plays. So then he goes to leave and he says, last night with Rudy, like we had a moment and I helped another human being and I want more of that. He says, I want to learn more about people and help them in their troubles. And the doctor says, well, that's what I do. And he goes, yeah, but you suck at it. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, not to say the whole healthcare system is corrupt, but I've been in and out of the hospital way too more than any person really should in the last like few months of, well, basically the psych ward, just to get detox from drinking and kind of they want to always put you on meds, but the nurses are always so great. But I'm just like, you guys, I don't know. You just don't get it,
Right. I
You
think a
don't
lot
get
of
it.
mental health has become nothing more than a paycheck to these people, and they don't really hear what people are saying. They don't want to try to understand because they've got their theory in their head and they're like, oh, this is your problem. It's like, no, you're not listening to what I'm trying to tell you.
Right. And that's exactly what he says to the doctor. He is, you don't even listen to people when they talk. And that's the thing is like people just want to be listened to, understood, validated to some extent, kind of like if they say this, do this, if this, prescribe this.
Right. It's like a telemarketing thing. If they say this, respond with this. And then if they say that, you're supposed to say this. It's like they
Well,
have it all
exactly.
planned out.
Yeah. So it's frustrating because I was almost 9 years sober and it's tough to get sober again because you could have like, oh, I have 17 days and then 9 years, but you got to start somewhere. But I just don't feel like I need a program. Programs are all the same in the end of the day. Well, programs are not all the same. I take that back. But like Teen Challenge and Salvation Army and all those programs, they're great. When I went through that little self-care class, I kind of was like, yep, that's all I need to know. I need to take better care of myself. I need to stop being I'm not dumb, so I need to stop doing dumb stuff, which I guess brings me to my next subject is probably almost 3 weeks ago now I totaled my car again and flipped it upside down on its back again. And I don't even really just know how it happened, but I woke up kind of or came to rather upside down in my car and couldn't get out. And then, it took me to jail. I spent my first night in the clink, which sucked.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, they let me out in the morning. Then I walked to the gas station in my croc. But it's not really what I needed. But I will survive.
Right? It's like life likes to kick you when you're down, and it just keeps kicking you.
Totally. Rock bottom, I don't really believe in it because you can always, things can seriously always get worse. I don't even ever say that. Like, things can only get up from here because it's like, nope. They can get worse.
So are you too focused on how many days you've been sober versus just living today for what today is?
No, I mean, that's the thing about sobriety is I think people can tend to make their sobriety date and their sobriety like an idol and they're just hung up on it's just too much pressure. I don't like to commit to absolute, anything or I'm going to abstain from doing this for the rest of my life. But once you get labeled an alcoholic or an addict, it's like pretty difficult to shed that label. People are always watching and waiting.
Right? They're just waiting to see what you're going to do.
What is she gonna do next? Yeah, alcohol is freaking the worst. I mean, it's not the worst. I've never personally dabbled in heroin or meth, but I've done other things, and it's a slippery slope.
It
And then
all
people
is.
tell me too, like people who don't understand addiction, they'll just be like, Annie, just have a few, a couple of beers, and just call it a day. I'm like, you don't understand. When I start drinking, it's like somebody put a quarter in me. I feel I'm a social butterfly, and I like to play pool and waste my money on the jukebox. It's like a whole thing. I don't ever drink by myself.
You go out because you want to be around people. It's not about the alcohol, it's about being with other people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, even the other however many weeks ago it was that I drank for the first time in a while and then gave my car the old rollover test. I was like upset because basically I had been told that I couldn't see my boys later that night. So then it just took the wind right out of my sails. Then I started drinking a couple of tall boys that I bought at the Dollar General. And then, yeah, I went and got a couple of more a couple hours later. And then somebody had said something about all you can eat shrimp up at this bar that's like 7 minutes up the street from me. So yeah, then I went up there and I ordered water because I didn't want to be drinking like in the public eye. But yeah, whatever happened, I didn't even end up getting any food or anything. And then I took a back road home and flipped my car. And then I thought, "Oh, God, I should turn my headlights off and just sit it out until," because I always think it's better to get like a fleeing in accident ticket than an OWI. But it was cold and I started shivering like right away. So, but yeah, ultimately it was the shrimp that did me in. I just was at home and thought, well, yeah, I'll go out and hang out for a little bit. But yeah, I'll do like anything to avoid being alone.
Do you ever hang out online, like in the community rooms when they have meetings? Or there's some people that do like in-person live chats where you can text them or type in a question and it's live and they'll respond to you and stuff.
No, I've never done that. Mm-mm.
I'll send you a link of someone that I see online. Her name is Lindsay, and she does these things all the time. She'll be online for like a couple hours on any given day, and she does this a lot. So it might be something, just a way to communicate with a live person without having to leave the house.
Well, and sometimes you don't want to talk to people that you know.
Exactly, because they're all judging you. They all know your history.
Yeah, I mean, like the other day I went out with a friend to get a BLT in the middle of the day, and they were just asking questions, and sometimes I'm in the mood and sometimes I'm not. Just like, what do you think you're gonna do now? I'm like, I'm not sure. What are you gonna do for work now? Because I'm not working. Like, I don't know. Don't you think that all I do is sit around and think about those exact things? Just like people, everywhere you go, people. That's why it's tough even going to family stuff because everybody's all, what have you been doing these days? And it's normal, but when your life is in the freaking shitter, it's like, let's talk about you instead.
It's tough. But what I've been saying lately is people who don't understand addiction, it's like eat 5 potato chips and then put that bag back in the cupboard. How long before you go back for more potato chips? That's what addiction is like.
Everybody's addicted to something.
Right.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
yeah.
that's the feeling. It's like that draw. And the minute you go in for any kind of medical test and they say, well, you can't eat after this time, all of a sudden that's the only thing you're gonna think about. It's the
Well,
mind. The mind is the problem.
I think I saw something once that said it was about your cell phone. Like, yeah, it's like when you put your cell phone down, that's what addiction is like. It's like every time, yeah. Shit, I wish I knew what it was, especially because we're on a podcast. But people
Yeah,
are
I've
addicted
heard
to their
people say that
phones.
too.
Yeah, it's like that's what addiction is like. There's actually this little video. It's like a cartoon drawing of I don't know, it's like a little bird and he's hopping along and he comes across this little, well, I'll have to send it to you. It's like a 4 minute long video, but it has no words or music. It's just exactly what addiction is like about his first time he gets high and it's so great and it lasts like pretty long. And he keeps going and he does it again and it doesn't last as long, but it's still pretty good. And then he kind of like tumbles at the end when he's done and keeps going and going. And eventually he's like just barely can walk and he's all like fat and strung out and he uses it again and he just falls flat on his face because yeah, it's like using in the beginning is always pretty fun. But if you're an addict, you just cannot ever, like for me, I tell people, I can feel good, pretty good, all around physically, mentally, emotionally, but I always want to feel even better. you know like if somebody hands me something that's going to make me feel alive or different or whatever, it's like, sure.
I understand that feeling.
Yeah.
Kind of like with different weed strains and stuff, everyone's saying, "Oh, you got to try this. It's so great." It's like, well, what makes it greater than the other thing? Is this the beginning of the gateway drug? You're looking for the next greater high, next greater high. I don't know.
I know sometimes, I mean, I know probably my mom will eventually listen to this, but it's like when I go to buy weed sometimes, which I haven't been now for a while, mostly because I'm super poor, but people are like, oh, this is that, purple kush. I don't know, just orangutan, kush. I'm like, what? Just put it in a bag, okay? I don't care what it is.
Right,
It's
as long as it
crazy.
makes me feel better for a little
Yeah,
while.
yeah.
But some people,
But
they do exercise in order to adjust their mental thinking too.
oh yeah, totally. I have a treadmill that I never use, but I should totally hop on that bad boy. 'Cause I know it would make me feel good.
Yeah, I know that there's things that'll make, like, I was feeling pretty sick the other day, and I'm like, I know I'll feel better if I just get up and eat something, if I just do this. But I was too damn lazy to get out of bed, so I suffered for another couple of hours, and then finally I gave in. I'm like, fine, I'll eat something.
Yeah, that's exactly how I was for the last 2 days.
It's like you know what you need to do, but you don't have the desire to do it, and that's what I'm trying to figure out now. It's like, how do I get that desire back to wanna do these things that was so exciting, like, a few months ago? I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, I guess I'm right there with you. I mean, what is the name of your podcast? I'm Only Human?
Yeah.
Nice. I like that.
A lot of
Well,
people use that, "I'm only human." It's like, but it's true. I mean, no one's above human nature, and that's what the problem is with everyone.
people love to say that Christians are all a bunch of hypocrites. They're like, oh, yeah, Christians, they just go to church on Sunday and then do whatever they want, Monday through Saturday. And I'm like, I hear you. I do. Christians can be the worst. But I'm like, I just always say there's only one guy who did it right, and it was Jesus. And all the rest of us who claim to be Christians are just saying that we're a fan of Jesus, and yeah, we're all supposed to be striving to be like him. But yeah, it's like, well, we're all human. I mean, just because I love Jesus doesn't mean I don't, say like, yeah, smoke cigarettes or cuss every now and then, generally speaking. It's like, we're supposed to be perfect because we say we're Christians?
Yeah, I don't like the term Christian because it has ruined everything. Religion has ruined God. I mean, man, we're the ones that ruined everything for ourselves.
1000%. Like the Jesus in the Bible, he was a totally normal guy. He was bold. He was like stood up for, he had righteous anger. And people just make it seem like he was so weird, right? Like Flanders from The Simpsons. They're like flamboyant, weird neighbor. It's like
Right.
that's not what Jesus was like. And then it's like Jesus also wasn't a Catholic or a Lutheran or a freaking Seventh Day Adventist. It's like, God, what don't
Right.
you guys
Jesus
get about
wasn't a
the whole
Christian. Jesus was just Jesus.
the word Christian, I think, is like the word electrician or like, it just means that you're in the business of or that you're, like Christian is Christ. I don't know. I should look into that. But yeah, you're right. It's like I don't even want to say oh, I'm a Christian. It's like I don't know. I believe everything inside the Bible is true. I try to read the Bible and I don't read it as much as I should. But yeah, people have pretty strong opinions about religion and Christianity, and I get it. But it's like y'all don't even read the Bible, so just take it easy.
Do we even need the Bible to know the difference between right and wrong, though?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So why are we all fighting over this damn book? I don't understand it. That's just my view.
Well, I guess because everybody is like has all these different interpretations of it, and it's like just I think that the point or whatever definition of being Christian is that you proclaim Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, and you believe all of what they say about him was true on the cross and that, and then. But yeah, it's like once you get saved, which is to come to that realization, then your life isn't about becoming more saved, where you're like, I'm just gonna go to church. like every Wednesday and Sunday and hang out with all my church friends, and we're all just gonna sit around and talk about how great it is to be Christian. It's like you're supposed to go out, and spread the good news and be like, because the Bible says at the end of our life that people are gonna be like, Lord, Lord, let me in. And he's gonna be like, I never knew you, and they're gonna be like, well, but I thought, and he's like, yeah, but did you clothe the naked and feed the hungry and help the sick and help the poor? And then he says, whatever you did to these, whatever you did unto the least of these, you did unto me. And so we're just supposed to be kind, don't murder anybody. I don't know, right?
Right. It's common sense. It's like all humans, regardless of religion, race, gender, whatever, we all have feelings. We all feel pain. And in the end, we all want the same thing. We just want peace and love, but we don't know how to agree on how to get that.
Yeah.
I guess it's an individual thing.
That is why I would like to see myself someday giving some sort of like speeches, or even like, well, I thought the other day, I don't think I could be a stand-up comedian per se, but I'm like, like a female Christian stand-up comic would be like pretty, is it niche?
One of those two words.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to say it. It's a weird
'Cause
looking word.
Yeah, I went and saw this old woman stand-up comedian once, and she was really funny. And I thought, maybe I could be like Joyce Meyer slash also tell some jokes in between, right?
Sure.
Sure.
I mean, who says you can't do that?
Well, I don't know. I have this like totally useless ability to memorize movies. Like people are like, you've seen so many movies. I'm like, I know, and I'm pretty unashamed of it too, because I love movies and they always like take you on a journey, especially true stories. I like reading books too, and then I'm just like, people have always told me that I'm a good storyteller, or I'm very articulate. Or the other day, my friend told me, his name's Gus. He said, you're like the type of person that could sway the other 11 jurors who don't believe what you believe, to basically, convince all of them that this person is innocent. I'm like, thank you.
Oh, nice.
What should I do with this gift of gab I've been so graciously given? So far, it hasn't done much for me in my life, but maybe
you're
someday.
talking to the wrong people.
Maybe.
In closing, I would like to say that the opinions expressed here were strictly of my own making, or by my guests. Take what you like and leave the rest. You may come to realize that you may not like me or what I want to share. Let's talk to each other, reason things out, but let there be no gossip or criticism of one another. Instead, let the fellowship of ethical human behavior and the serenity from positive human interaction help you grow and chill out, one experience at a time. I would like to thank my higher power for guiding me through this podcast. I hope to spread the message of love, hope, and understanding by touching one life at a time. If you like this podcast, please like and share it. Comments also help other struggling people find it. I am now listener supported, and if you would like to contribute, please feel free. There is no obligation. If you would like to share feedback, you can email me at averagehumanbeing1875@gmail.com. There is also a link you can click if you'd like to send a voice message and add to the content of the show.
Okay, there you have the update from Annie K. So I'm going to have to talk to her again because let's see, when was that recorded? That was, does this even show me? I don't even think that shows me. Does it show me here? Sorry, I'm not sharing my screen right now. You guys don't know what I'm looking at. Just give me a moment. All right, where are we? Here we are. Okay. That was back in January. January 1st is when I talked to her. So I'm going to need to reach out again and see where she's at and how she's doing. Okay, everyone. Oh, wait, let's see, what notes did I write down? Yeah, I wrote down, like, for some reason, like, early in recovery, maybe even now, I don't know. It's like I somehow think that other people don't understand that non-alcoholics and, well, I should say, quote, non-alcoholics and quote, non-addicts have the same emotions and feelings that people who suffer with addiction have. And I don't know why I think that they don't understand that. But anyway, I think it's a bit arrogant of me to think that they don't. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Never mind. I've lost my thought. So Annie talks about Teen Challenge, which is another rehab type of program. And I know that Dave talked about Teen Challenge as well. Maybe I'll get them to elaborate a little bit more about Teen Challenge and what it is. Maybe I can get someone from Teen Challenge and get some people on here just to spread that there are different kinds of recovery. And that's what it's all about, just sharing the message. There's different kinds of recovery out there. If one program doesn't work for you, try a different one. But you have to want it in order to change. I mean, you can't just go to rehab and go to detox and be like, oh, I'm all better. If your mind isn't there, if your mind isn't made up that you want to do this, it's not going to happen. And even if you get clean, you're going to relapse pretty quickly after getting out. And I've known people or heard of people who have gotten out of detox or rehab and have gotten drunk that very same day and maybe ended up back in jail, maybe not. But it's really tough. I mean, it's really tough. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now. I'm just rambling. All right. Have a good night. Bye.